I got to say, I agree with Raquel. We're in a moment which is hard to perceive in the moment we're in now, but it really is a transformative moment in history. I mean, 1,000 years, they'll look back to this time when these technologies of blockchain and AI were created. And it's almost like the invention of the printing press or the introduction of the internet. And it may even be bigger than those technologies. So we've got so much that this can bring us.
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, we're going to be diving down the rabbit hole, discussing and talking about developments that are happening behind the scenes involving the XDC network and the XDC ecosystem. If you all enjoy these deep dives, sharing video clips, panel discussions, and fundamentals that are never going to reach the mainstream with you all, then do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Maybe you are an XDC holder, or maybe you've never heard about the project before. By the end of this video breakdown, you all will know why I am so heavily invested and involved in accumulating the XDC digital asset. Now, again, none of this is financial advice. This is just my personal research showing you guys how deep the rabbit hole goes and how interconnected the web is, the developments that are happening behind the scenes. So as always, let's jump in. With that being said, let's start here. If you guys haven't seen the previous video breakdown that I made on the XDC network, make sure that you go head over to the CYPRX YouTube and check it out. The most recent video posted just a couple of hours ago, XDC Sleeping Giant, connecting and showing you guys massive partnerships and developments that are happening behind the scenes. We're going to do the same thing in today's video breakdown. So this is going to be one of those extensive videos that you're going to want to stick around for. We're going to start here. This was posted about a week ago by the XDC Foundation, and I really like this visual display. It goes on to mention building on the XDC network today is like building in the early years of Dubai. The foundation has been laid. You can see a picture from 2005 of Dubai. The infrastructure was being laid, buildings were being built, nothing was really solidified yet. And then look at the city now. It is absolutely massive. It's scaling, it's growing, it has grown, and it's thriving at levels that were probably unimaginable, at the time in 2005. Just to show you all, the developments take time, okay? Have a forward-looking projection, and in my personal opinion, XDC is a sleeping giant, like I will continue to reiterate time and time again. Now, let's head over here. Digital Economy Council of Australia, previously known as Blockchain Australia, announced this just 6 days ago on their LinkedIn. The Digital Economy Council of Australia, or DECA, proudly welcomes Zenfin, powering the XDC network as a foundational partner. Sean White, head of ecosystem and business development, let's zoom into this so you guys can see, in Australia for the XDC network, shared his enthusiasm for this collaboration. Partnering with the DECA, the XDC network has established itself as a global layer 1 EVM DLT cornerstone in democratization to scale meaningfully and reliably, either as a compliant or as an alternative to legacy systems and approaches. This marks an exciting chapter for the XDC in Australia. I'm eager to witness the impact we will make together, both inspiring the local and digitalizing ecosystem, and by the waves of innovation that we might send across the globe in this foundational year. That was a phenomenal post, and I love to see those types of developments. Now, we're going to specifically focus on three things that I like about the XDC network. They're focused on the regulatory landscape, right? They're focused on integrating with trending things in this market, in this Web3 ecosystem, like artificial intelligence and the tokenization of real-world assets via fractional ownership. And that's what we're going to dial our attention on in today's video breakdown. So this is a post from the FRAC, or FRAC. And it goes on. This is, by the way, from 5 days ago. All the developments that I'm going to show you all and all the video clips are from within the last either year or most recently announced. So this is from within 5 days ago. You guys can see that here posted on LinkedIn, and it says, FRAC is proud to have integrated Diamond Labs tokenization platform to the Zenfin powering XDC network platform, or mainnet, right? Now, right down here, before we get into FRAC here in just 1 second, I really like this because number 2, it highlights, it says, regulatory compliance and enterprise readiness. The XDC network is designed with enterprise-grade applications in mind, offering features that support regulatory compliance. when I'm investing in a project or digital asset, this is something that I heavily fixate on. It provides tools for KYC, AML, which will be extremely important and required in the near future, processes which are critical when dealing with tokenization of physical assets that are subject to legal and regulatory scrutiny. The platform's focus on compliance helps enterprises navigate the complex legal landscape and associated with RWAs, ensuring that tokenized assets can be traded in legally sound manners. So in order for these financial institutions to onboard into the space, we know that there has to be a sound regulatory compliant, and these projects in which we want to invest in also need to be regulatory compliant. And we can clearly see that the XDC network is aiming to do just that. Now, I like this. This is a fundamental PDF from Zodiac Custody, and it has listed on one of this in this PDF, one of the XDC network's partners. So it says the future of custody and tokenized world. And if we scroll right down here, it does mention right here, for financial institutions to come into these markets, we need firms who want to bring in this regulatory umbrella that is required for large financial institutions to be capable of operating with digital assets. And if we scroll right down here where it says mapping out the current landscape of tokenized assets, you can see right here, issuance platforms, one of them listed is Securitize. Now we know Securitize is supported by the XDC network. You guys can see that right here. XDC Foundation, proud to be one of the handful of networks supported by Securitize. Okay. So I just thought that that was interesting, showing you guys the regulatory groundwork and the infrastructure that is being laid by the XDC network. Now, heading over here, I'm going to share screen with you guys so you all can actually hear this. And two things are mentioned in this particular video breakdown, and it's going to go hand in hand with something that a representative said from JP Morgan, where he mentioned that they are building out the system right now in order for financial institutions to drag and drop this old system that they are used to being built on over into this new system, i.e. via public blockchains. Okay. Now, you just saw that the XDC network is a leading layer 1 network, right? And in my personal opinion, it is only going to continue to scale and grow over the next consecutive couple of years as this digital transformation unfolds at a rapid pace. So let's just listen to this individual representative go on to mention that banks and financial institutions need regulation, which I just showed you guys. The XDC network is fixated on being regulatory compliant. And then we're going to roll over into him mentioning that these financial institutions are in the near future most likely going to use public blockchains. So take a second and let's listen to what this gentleman has to say.
It's going to change everything. It's going to be perfect. What about if it doesn't work, right? What about interoperability issues? What about the friction in the system that is definitely, from what you all just said, going to remove all the friction in the system? So like what's the bear case there for interoperability issues?
So I think the biggest unaddressed issue here is the fact that tokenization cannot just be a means for regulatory arbitrage. You can't just take a stock and put it on a blockchain and say that it doesn't need to, for example, be cleared by DTCC or, respect regulation NMS in the US. It has to actually go through the correct regulatory channels. And I think, one, until there's enough proper rules and regulatory clarity in place for that to happen, they're not going to end up on a bank's balance sheet. But also, when we talk about tokenization, typically we are usually referring to the primary issuance.
Right. So we'll stop right there. He just mentioned that until there is clear regulations, these digital assets are most likely not going to end up on a bank's balance sheet. Now we're going to fast forward to roughly about 29 minutes and 59 seconds, where he goes on to mention his future projection and how these financial institutions will inevitably transition over to public blockchains, keeping in mind that the XDC network is a leading layer 1 network. Take a second and let's listen to what again he has to say.
Given blockchain's fair share of incidents over the last 10 years, I think it's fair to say that companies probably want to start off with infrastructure that they can control, that they can experiment with, that they can wall off to the outside world, and then figure out what is the use case of opening it up to a public distributed ledger in sort of a piecemeal way. I think that's a perfectly viable option. I think when you think about the early stages of the internet, the first internet was a private intranet, between sort of government nodes and universities. That's how it developed, and that's how it eventually got out there. Now we may be at a stage where we feel, or plenty of people feel, like building on the public blockchain is fine, where you can permission at the smart contract level, at the asset level, or at the chain level, or side chain level. But I think we should be open to the experimentation across the board. I'm very, very happy to hear that there are large public banks that are experimenting with private blockchains, because that is the beginning of them eventually moving to a public blockchain.
Right. That is the beginning of them eventually moving over to a public blockchain, right? Keep that in mind, because if we go back in time, right? We go back in time and we remember what an individual representative from JP Morgan said. Take a second and listen. He mentioned, again, they're building out EVM capabilities on private networks in order for them to drag and drop over to public blockchain networks once the environment is healthy enough for them to do so via the regulatory conditions and the foundations have been laid. Keep in mind, again, what the XDC network is. Take a second and let's listen to what he has to say.
Private institutional blockchains to maybe more public, or what you guys are using today. And Eric, I know you have really interesting opinions on where that's going to go in the future.
Yeah, and maybe I can just provide a little bit of context in terms of just the traditional financial services market and how we think about the requirements really to be able to operate a safe and sound system. So JP Morgan processes about $10 trillion of payments every day. That's 400 times the global stablecoin daily volume. The global FX market is about $5 trillion. And so when we think about utilizing blockchains as a settlement layer, we need the infrastructure to actually support these volumes, and we need them to support the scale that the traditional financial services market is at. So right now, clearly, there are a number of reasons, both technological-wise, but also regulatory-wise, as to why we have to use permissioned blockchains. However, you can think about these, globally ever-present, always-up, highly redundant public blockchains as a really, really attractive settlement layer that can, service this global market. However, until we actually solve some of the key challenges, specifically around privacy, specifically around things like AML, KYC, it does become difficult for us to fully step into that environment. We did a project last year with a monetary.
Did you see how he just mentioned KYC and AML? Keep in mind, I'll go back to the fundamental piece where the XDC network is attempting to do what? Be KYC and AML compliant. Keep that in mind. He just mentioned that. That's why I'm trying to get you guys to see the connections, okay?
Authority of Singapore, where we demonstrated what it would actually look like for a regulated institution like ourselves to utilize public DeFi protocols, to utilize public blockchains. And very clearly, there were lots of very insightful learnings for us. The transparency that you get around DeFi pools, for example, the ability to have anytime price discovery through a DeFi protocol, very, very important and interesting. Also, the lower cost. But as I said, until we actually have some clarity around the ability to actually operate on this infrastructure from a reg perspective, we're going to have to be in the sort of permission view until we can take some of the hybrid steps. And those hybrid steps look like some of the existing infrastructure that is coming out right now around subnets or permission zones or these kinds of things. And from our perspective, the reason why we operate an EVM sidechain is so that everything that we build can actually be portable into a public environment. So all of our contracts are written in Solidity. We use ERC20s for the most part for our tokens. All of our developer tooling utilizes the public Ethereum ecosystem's tooling set. So actually moving into the public blockchain environment when we can will be much of a sort of a lift and drop scenario.
Right? Will be sort of a lift and drop scenario. Okay. I cannot stress enough. He just said that straight up to everybody. This is only from 9 months ago. So it's from within the last year. Like I mentioned, all of this information that I'm showing you all today is very relevant. And if we head back to the fundamental piece where I mentioned the XCC network from this FRAC post, right? What are they attempting to do? Provides tools for KYC AML processes, which are critical when dealing with tokenization of physical assets in a regulatory scrutiny environment, right? I can't this is why I'm so invested in the XCC network, because they're attempting to move in tandem with the tides and what these financial institutional players are telling you all on stage. Okay. And not a lot of digital asset projects out there are attempting to do this. They're not being transparent. They're not partnering behind the scenes during pullbacks like the one that we're currently experiencing now as of time of recording this video breakdown, right? And when you pay attention to detail, you start to connect the dots and see which projects are. The XDC network is one of them. So regulatory compliance, one of the reasons why I'm heavily invested into the XDC network. Another reason, this fundamental piece right here, to just touch on the FRAC partnership, August 19th, updated actually on the August 22nd. As of time of recording, it is the 28th. So this is only a couple days old. The FRAC-powered Diamond Labs platform revolutionizing gemstone and gold investments. In a modern era of finance where digital assets are rapidly gaining traction, traditional investment avenues are being transformed by innovative technologies. One such groundbreaking innovation is the FRAC-powered Diamond Labs platform, a cutting-edge solution designed to tokenize gemstones and gold, making these luxury assets accessible to a broader range of investors. This is extremely important because this is how we onboard billions of individuals onto this space. And if we head over here we're going to come back to this fundamental piece because I really like this one. And we listened to something that a representative from the XDC network mentioned. Let's go over here and I want to show you guys what I'm talking about. He mentioned that he projects 5 billion people onboarding into this digital asset ecosystem. This is, let me just show the co-founder of the XDC network. Take a second and just listen to his forward-looking projection.
And we just started implementing things on the network. So that's why we came out with the existing network. And what I see is 5 billion people, they are going to use wallet. 5 billion people, they are going to store their assets in NFT forms. So whatever you own, whether it's real estate, whether it's a stock, whether it's a bond, whether it's a commodity, it's going to be on a blockchain network. So,
right? He projects 5 billion people onboarding into this space, whether it's a stock that you own, a piece of real estate, gold, commodities, right? Whatever it is, it's going to be stored on a blockchain network. Now, through the utilization of DeFi, of blockchain, of these digital asset networks, you can commit yourself to fractional ownership. You can own a very expensive piece of real estate with very, very micro amounts of money. Same thing with these diamonds, same thing with commodities like gold. So let's go back to this fundamental piece. And I just want to read a little bit of this because this just shows that, again, the XDC network is committed to making this a reality and not just making these projections and not doing anything about it. He can project 5 billion people all he wants, but how are they going to actually commit to onboarding that many people into this space? They are integrating with projects and making partnerships behind the scenes that are going to actually bring this into fruition. So here you can see, this is again that Frac powered Diamond Labs platform that the XDC, that is built on the XDC network. And you can see right here, it mentions global reach. The platform allows investors from all over the world, and this is something that we have been talking about in previous video breakdowns, to participate in the gemstone and gold markets. That is monumental. This is happening for the first time ever, where somebody in Africa, in the lowest income earning area of the world, compared to somebody in Malibu, California, in the United States, and one of the most expensive places in the world, has the same access to the new financial system through nothing but a mobile connection, a mobile phone, and an internet connection. That is life-changing, and it's literally happening for the first time ever. There are no geographical barriers, and the decentralized nature of the platform means that anyone with internet access can invest in these assets. Then it also commits to high entry barriers. Investing in luxury assets typically requires substantial capital, making it inaccessible to many potential investors. Through fractional ownership, Diamond Labs lowers the entry barriers, allowing investors to participate in high-value markets with smaller amounts of capital. Now, with that in mind, okay, keeping in mind that this is all being built out on the XDC network, let's go over, and I want you all to listen to a podcast that took place from Deloitte, right? Major consulting firm. Do your research on who they are if you don't know who they are. Highly suggest that you guys take it upon yourself to listen to what these individuals have to say. And this is a video from 4 months ago, only has 187 views. And listen to what some of the representatives on this podcast say about tokenization and how this is revolutionizing the payment infrastructure and this is changing the course of history for forever, keeping in mind what XDC is doing behind the scenes via their partnerships, their collaborations, and the innovations that they are laying in the now. Take a second and let's listen to this.
Alternatives to the systems we use today.
I think that's very well said. Turning an eye towards the future, what excites you both the most when we think about the future of tokenization? When I think about tokenization, the big winner is fractional ownership and the idea that people who might not have traditionally had access to certain asset classes like real estate or like art might now be able to invest in those asset classes via tokenization.
I think it empowers everybody. I could have music or I could directly engage with an audience through a tokenized asset. I think it's, when we think about this and how it applies to our real life, I could see it just capturing every aspect of our lives, the personal lives, the financial, what it is that we want to create, and being part of this another technological revolution. I mean, how cool is that? So to be at that forefront and to be on that journey with folks that are looking to scale this, looking to adopt this, looking to update the regulatory guidelines around this, it is very exciting to me, both on the professional front and the personal front.
Yeah, I got to say, I agree with Raquel. We're in a moment which is hard to perceive in the moment we're in now, but it really is a transformative moment in history. I mean, 1,000 years, they'll look back to this time when these technologies of blockchain and AI were created. And it's almost like the invention of the printing press or the introduction of the internet. And it may even be bigger than those technologies. So we've got so much that this can bring us.
I feel like I don't need to play any more of this video. He said that this is changing the course of history. People will look back in years from now and they will say, wow, this is what changed the course of history. Keeping in mind the first video or the first little display that I showed you guys of the XDC network. Let me go back and share screen with you all. And them talking about this right here, right? The Dubai infrastructure being laid back in 2005, looking back on it now, XDC compared to this, laying the foundation in the now. And you just mentioned, so far we've covered regulation, how they're attempting to be regulatory compliant, KYC, AML, bringing, traditional financial players onto public blockchains, what that's going to entail, a regulatory landscape that is, compliant with their regulations and their processes. We talked about now fractional ownership, how the XDC network is partaking in that through partnerships behind the scenes. Now, the third piece, another reason why I'm so heavily invested in XDC, the digital asset, and so fixated on the XDC network is because of artificial intelligence and the AI evolution. All right. And so we can see fundamental partnerships happening behind the scenes as well that, again, the mainstream are never going to cover, that XDC is gearing up with right now. Look at this. 4 days ago, we are proud to have completed the integration with the XDC network. Who is this? Dazzle Labs. If you head over to Dazzle Labs, you can just read a little bit about them. We'll just cover this a little bit. At Dazzle Labs, we're passionate about creating AI-powered SaaS products that help businesses of all sizes and industries. So they're very committed to integrating artificial intelligence with businesses and industries across the board. And then we also have this one from 4 days ago, another artificial intelligence partnership. We are happy to announce that EduBook, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, has officially integrated with our DApp with the XDC network, Zinfin powering XDC network, where we have created a one-stop platform for global academic and professional credentials verification using blockchain, right? And here is a fundamental piece. The XDC launches XDC Network EduBook, revolutionizing credential verification with blockchain and AI. EduBook, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not, I'm butchering that to death, but a platform dedicated to securing and efficiently verifying educational transcripts and work experience certificates, has officially launched on the XDC network. By harnessing the power of blockchain and AI technology, EduBook has setting a new standard in the credential verification process, making background checks significantly faster and more cost-effective. This integration marks a significant milestone in our mission to combat fraud in education and hiring, empowering institutions, employers, and professionals across the globe, right? And through the utilization of blockchain technology and the integration of AI, this is happening, all being built out on the XDC network. Now, why is this so important? I'm going to play 2 more video clips. If you've enjoyed this video so far, you're an XDC holder, or maybe you're hearing about this project for the first time, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. No hopium, just research, showing you guys why I'm investing in the XDC network or the XDC digital asset and so fixated on the XDC network is because this is what you want to see from a project. You don't want to see a bunch of moonboy, hypey, speculative price predictions. You want to see actual developments happening behind the scenes. Yes, I get it. XDC's worth 2 cents right now, but that via the long-term perspective, looking at a post like this is a massive steal considering the fundamentals that I've just showed you guys, the way that this market and this infrastructure is headed in the near future, and the developments that are going to continue to unfold at a rapid pace as time goes on, and XDC being at the forefront of all that. So now we know not only 1, but 2 projects that they are embedded with are heavily focused on the integration of blockchain and AI. Let's just take a second and listen to these 2 panelists. And the reason why I'm going to play 2 is because I don't want you to think I'm crazy making this up. I have hundreds of video breakdowns of individuals saying that blockchain and artificial intelligence are going to coexist in the future, or that AI is going to use crypto. And I'm just showing you guys that the XDC network is heavily fixated on the integration of blockchain and AI. So let's take a second and let's listen to this first representative. This video breakdown is from only 6 months ago and only has 192 views. And the reason why I capitalize on showing you guys the amount of views that these videos have is to show you that not a lot of people are paying attention to this information. So the first video clip, we're going to go to about 1 minute and 30 seconds. And he mentions artificial intelligence utilizing crypto. Take a second and let's listen to this.
To wave of things that we're going to see happen in the ecosystem, right? I look forward to 24, 25, how do we use programmable money? Who's going to be using it? To me, the obvious answer is AI, right? Nobody's going to give AI a bank account, but it's going to be using crypto. It's going to be using Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so, that's the future we're talking about. And this is what I'm about. How do we unite the crypto tribes with the open source AI people? And let me back up first and talk about why this is important, right? I think AI has something incredible to offer the crypto community. And that is a really easy user interface, right? AI is so intuitive. You just chat, tell the machine what you want to do. It understands what you're trying to accomplish, lines it up for you, and you can push one button. So I sincerely believe that AI is how crypto gets to the first billion users, right? I think.
Pay attention to what he said. He sincerely believes that AI is how crypto gets to the first billion users. Remember the projection via the co-founder of the XDC network projecting 5 billion users coming onto digital wallets, showing you all now the integration of artificial intelligence projects with the XDC network. They are making strides to actually make the next billion users come into fruition. That's why I'm attempting to show you guys this. Yes, I get it. Price is low right now. We're in a slight market downturn, but be optimistic long-term and see what is being built out behind the scenes, and don't be so fixated on the now. Let's listen to another representative go on to mention the same exact thing, that artificial intelligence will most likely be the thing that utilizes crypto in the future. Take a second and let's listen to what this individual representative has to say, and then we'll wrap it up from here.
Qualifications. Literally, anybody on the planet can use this without having to have an ID, without having to have anything at all. And one really exciting aspect of this too, I guarantee you, right, AI is just right around the corner. Bank of America is not going to open a bank account for AI. The Bank of England is not going to open a bank account for AI. NBD Bank here in the United Arab Emirates, well, they're pretty progressive here. Maybe they will, but most banks aren't going to open a bank account for AI. AI is going to be using cryptocurrency, right? So whether you're human or superhuman.
Right. So that's now two individual representatives on stage talking in front of large organizations, financial institutions, telling you all AI is going to be using crypto. And you see XDC network partnering with artificial intelligence related projects being built out on the XDC network. I mean, it makes sense, people, right? 281 views for this particular video breakdown, showing you guys the realest information, always doing deep dives, showing you the interconnected webs, how the infrastructure is being built out, never giving you guys hopium, bullish moonboy, unrealistic price targets, always keeping you forward looking for the future, because that's how, in my personal opinion, everybody should be fixated on, not in the now, unless you're a day trader or a DeFi investor, right? Making passive income or day trading. If you're a long-term investor, you should be doing research on the projects that are most likely going to survive long-term. And in my personal opinion, the XDC network is one of those projects. So with all of that in mind, many blessings to you guys. If you stuck around for the entirety of this video breakdown, I do appreciate the love and the support. Before you head off, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button. It does help boost the algorithm and push these video breakdowns out to more like-minded individuals like yourselves. If this is your first time on the platform, do us a favor and subscribe. It does help this platform grow, and we do appreciate it greatly. And as always, none of this is financial advice. With that being said, do your own personal research, be cognizant out there, be aware, and I will see you all in the next video breakdown.